When we're young, we have fun all the time. We laugh for no good reason. When we get older, the fun sometimes goes away and we don't laugh as often. I'd like to bring the laughter back. Hi, I'm Ralph Henderson. I am the MC and producer of this year's Global Supply Chain Marketing Summit. And I am honored to be joined by Rebecca Heiss, who is going to talk to us a little bit about our brain and how we can be successful. And, oh, by the way, how we might be able to have a little bit of fun. Rebecca, share with the audience about what having fun would mean to them.
Yeah, sure. Well, first of all, thank you for having me on, Ralph. I'm really honored to be here. So I'll give you the brief background. My whole background is in stress. So I'm a stress expert and a performance expert. And it turns out that we believe that we have to be something, right? We believe that in order to have the highest level of success, our highest level of achievement, our highest level of worth, we have to hit these certain standards. And so when we're little kids, we don't have that. We're just showing up to learn for learning's sake, right? We're having fun as we're falling off our bike and we're looking over at you and you're falling off your bike and it's all fine. And then we hit this certain age, right? Which we have all hit. And we're looking around and we're like, Ralph knows all the things and Charlie knows all the things and Sheila knows all the things and I don't know the things. And oh my gosh, they're going to find me out. And we get into this space of imposter syndrome. And instead of just showing up with beginner's mind, right, and saying, how do we get it right? Rather than having to be right all the time, we get really scared and we hold back from going all in and being ourselves.
And one of the things that you touch on is how, as children, we do have fun. And then when we look back on our lives, we think about how strong those children relationships are and how much of a bond that we have. And yet, for some reason, we don't think that equates into our adulthood. And I'm convinced more now than ever that if we want to have really strong relationships and we want to trust one another, and we want to really get connected, we need to get back to that mindset. What would you say to people about that?
Oh man, I could not agree more. I actually, when I work with audiences, I put them through what many people would describe as like stressful situations, like dance parties, right? And people are like, oh gosh, this is so awkward. And it ends up, people have fun because here's what's going on. Every single stressful opportunity is an opportunity to either build trust, build confidence, build relationships, or betray, where we betray ourselves by not showing up, by not going all in, by not having some fun. And what ends up happening is we have this incredible opportunity in those moments of stress, which only feel like stress because we've labeled them as such, right? Like, I can't dance. Ask any 5-year-old to groove, and they're like, woo, right? They're having a grand old time. And we look at people who do that as adults and we're like, they're so free. How are they doing that, right? Mm-hmm. And we admire them, we look up to them, but we can't give that same grace to ourselves. So again, I think having these moments of a real fun that are actually kind of challenging for some of us, open us up to recognize, oh, everyone's in the same boat. Everybody is feeling this discomfort, and it brings us closer as a result.
Which is a great segue into, I am doing a shirt toss at the Global Supply Chain Marketing Summit, because working with the NFL and doing this inside of these big stadiums and getting the audience, really excited, we thought would be fun. But I'm not sure everybody at the summit is going to receive it well, or initially to have fun with it. What would you say there? How would you set that up?
I think how I would frame that is, it's really easy to measure the cost of our actions. Right? It's really easy to measure the cost of like, well, what if I try for the shirt and I look foolish, or I don't catch it, or somebody judges me for it. So we measure those costs, right, really easily. That's what our brain says. What we neglect to measure, or what we don't even look at measuring, is the cost of our inaction. What if you don't go all in? What if you don't show up? What if you don't have any fun? What does that mean? And so frequently, those are the silent sirens of regret. Right? The opportunities that we miss because we allowed our fear to speak louder than our fun.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, I just know as sure as we're talking here, that people understand this inherently. It's just doing it, and executing it can be, it can be a little fearful. It can be a little nerve-wracking. But I do know when we get together with networking and we have fun and people, laugh and tell jokes or whatever, these are the relationships they remember at these forums and these summits. And so what I'm thinking is maybe we can do an intentional job of bringing that together, either through these playful activities or through a shirt toss or something like that, and create the relationship. What would you say as far as the long-term effect of doing things like this on relationships and how that works?
Oh my goodness. So I can dive into the science on that if you want, but really more than that, because we know I can tell you data all day long. Nobody remembers that. What people remember are stories.
Right.
And so I want you to think about this. Think about your closest friendships. What instantly comes to mind? I guarantee you it's that goofy thing you did back in high school with that person, right? It's that like secret that you had to keep because it was so foolish that you would be so embarrassed if anybody else knew. Right. That's what forges the deepest of connections. And I think this is really challenging for us because like our brains aren't built for this. Our brains are built to keep us alive, to keep us safe. So we don't show up as ourselves all the time. We try and conform, we try and fit into what people think we're supposed to be. And the hardest work you'll ever do is to become yourself and to let go and let go of some of those barriers that hold you back. But when you do, those connections become so real, so deep. You make room for so much more.
I couldn't agree more. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah.
I'm going to close with telling the audience this. The definition of courage is to do things that you know are right, but are going to be difficult and you still do them. I would argue the opposite of courage is conformity. And that's one of the things I really want us to address at the Global Supply Chain Marketing Summit. Thank you so much, Rebecca. And look, for more information on the Global Supply Chain Marketing Summit, just go to globalsupplychainmarketingsummit.com and we will see you at the beach.
Been a pleasure.